You're listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series. My name's Andrew Mackay-Smith, and the interview subject you've tuned in to hear from is the one and only Rex Brown, the former bass player in Pantera. The reason for the conversation is to promote his 2017 solo release titled Smoke on This. So let's have a listen to what he has to say. Here we go. I feel as though your music alone, out of all of the members of Pantera, you're the one that is carrying the legacy of Pantera because you are creating 70s-based heavy metal in the great tradition of Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, Blue Cheer. And that's what I'm hearing on the new record.
Beats are wow.
Well, that's what I'm hearing on the album Smoke on This.
That.
Yeah. So
that's great.
So it contains all of these wonderful elements of 70s hard rock and heavy metal, mate. So am I on point there?
Yeah, you're dead on point. You know what? I was asking myself that question in the back of a bus one day. I was going, why did I do this in the first place? Because I've been on this road for 25 years in this silver tube, and I missed out on my kids graduating from sixth grade, or my watching the grass grow, or just kicking back. And I found myself saying, you need to take some time off, man. You're getting burnt. I could see it around with some cohorts of mine that had been on the road too long.
Yep.
And it wipes you, man. It just wipes you clean. And I was like, this is a great band. But it's just, I'm looking for something else, man. And so I told myself, look, you're going to take 2 years off. Right. Take 2 years off and go figure out what you want to do. Watch that grass grow. Watch your kids grow. Do something. There's more to life than just making records and touring cycles. There really is. I mean, think about it, man. I've had a illustrious career. But at the same time, it didn't take me but 8 months, and I was back doing what I was doing.
Yes.
And that was writing songs, and it was playing guitar. It was playing bass. It was back to, going back to my place in Texas. I live in New Mexico now. I have for the last 6-7 years, and it's basically just taking me back to why did I do it in the first place? Well, I did it because I love to play fucking music, and I also did it for the challenge. If you don't challenge yourself to do something like this, and also, I didn't do. Trust me, I was scared shitless when I walked up to that mic for the first time.
Cool.
Guaranteed. And then once I started getting into it and seeing where my voice could go, and even though it's not that high, it's how I wanted it to be real. I wanted it to be raw and real, and so I had to go through that process of oh shit, I can't stand it. Am I doing this right? The thoughts of well, are we going to put this out or not? And it brought me back, and about the same time I was listening to all my. Look, I've got the same playlist I've had for fucking ever, and I listen to all kinds of different music. So, as a musician, I just don't think I was challenging myself sitting in a fucking bus doing the same goddamn thing when I wanted to go find something else. That's not that's not looking for that other. No, that's not looking for that something, and I had to pull back. And it's been a blessing in disguise. It really has. I mean, it's just, and at the same time, I went through the process of about an older home here. We completely gutted this thing, walls, and put new flooring in, real hard oak floors, and just did stuff I've never done before. It was a challenge again. And then I went back and we really got serious with this record in the fall. And everything was just so organically tight with the songs and the way, I can sit here for hours and try to explain it to you.
Yep.
But the easiest way I can get that close to in a 30-minute interview is that I wanted to go make a modern rock record of what I thought it sounded like. And I think I made my point. I'm sitting here with the music and it's not out yet, and it's driving me crazy because I just want the people to listen to it from front to end, as I'm sitting here listening to it on vinyl, with my headphones on.
Oh, nice, yes.
just every time I hear it, I go, okay, you jumped over a fence again. You did. And to me, that's all that matters. That's all that really fucking matters. It's not about being tagged this or being this genre or what happened to just music, man. What happened to just playing music? That's all that matters to me.
And look, on that point,
I've always been about the song. It's all about the song to me. It's not about the glitz and the glamour, because there's not any glitz and glamour, pal. Your glitz and glamour is what gets you fucking killed in this business. That's not me. I've never been that cat. I still feel I'm the same dude, even though I've evolved as a person. I'm not the same cat I was when Pantera broke apart 15 years ago.
Yes.
So, I feel like that I've got to get up and sun kind of shine every fucking morning, man. And it's what you do with it that makes the difference. And there's only two things I can come up with that can make it for me, and that's my attitude and my effort. And that's it. It's just natural evolution, and it's also being a person. You get so trapped in the schedule of the day, and you got to do this at this certain point, and eat this stuff before you could go on stage. I got tired of that shit, man. And now I'm ready for it again. But you have to take those. You have to take that a little bit of time off so you can say and then do something with it. To make it real. And I wanted to make a real rock record, and I think I've done it. And I'm only getting my feet wet. I mean, shit. This is just the first. This is just a formula that's just barely in its infancy. I got so much more in me.
Well, I hope you do, mate.
But I had to make it.
Yeah. Well, you've got you are aware, mate, that you do have fans all across the globe, especially here in Australia, that are anticipating the release.
Absolutely.
And do you think that Smoke on This is going to bring people who may not be aware of your previous bands and the legacy that you carry?
I don't try to put any preconception into anything. I think I think a lot of the people about it, some of the cats that grew up on Pantera probably grew up on the same type of shit I've listened to too. So I wanted to. Look, when I was writing these songs, I was trying to write it, or when I was, actually performing these songs in the studio, I wasn't thinking of any of this, and I think that's where the business kind of suffered a little bit. It's not about making good music anymore. It's about the product, and I'm so tired of that preceding the music. You know what I'm saying? It should be about the fucking song, man. Not about what kind of makeup or, flames shooting out of your fucking ass or something. It has nothing. It has to do with the fucking songs, man. I didn't grow up in Kiss was it. And nobody's done it since then. There was only one Slayer. There was only one Pantera. There was only one Metallica. There's only one Slipknot. You know what I'm saying? There's only one of each, but that doesn't mean that just because that's over, I can't keep doing it. Of my version of what I want to do.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Okay. Make it any clearer? I mean, all you have to do is listen to the record front to back, and you get it.
Yes, and one I have listened to it front to back a few times now. I do a lot of driving, and that's where I've been listening to it. It is great driving music, by the way. So I'd encourage any of the.
What's your favorite track?
The one that sounds like, I'm going to call it the George Harrison track. So the one that has the Indian sitar through it. That song there, I felt.
A lot of people love that track. I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, sorry, mate. I'm not because I've been listening to it in the car. I'm not familiar with the song titles yet, but I do look forward to that track. I think it's called "Doing All Right."
Get Yourself Alive.
Get Yourself Alive. Sorry, that's it. Yeah, Get Yourself Alive. Yeah, well, one of the reasons I liked it because I thought it showed a very different side to you that I wasn't anticipating. Well,
I mean, that's the point. Sometimes, not that it's showing a side of me. I'm a huge Beatles fan, for fuck's sake. You know, and Lance had this little passage, and then we just started making it. You know, we made it, you know, and then through all this, I've had this team of people with me that have been on the same page, you know, what we want to do, and try to make them, you know, put these songs first and, you know, put the moniker on it later. If you took my name off that fucking record and just listened to it, you'd want to know, who is this, right? You know, so if I just put it out under some other name like the Sunflowers or something like that, you know, would it still have the same credibility? You know what I'm saying?
I do.
But this is a totally different thing. This is a new twist. Oh, he's playing guitar. Fuck yeah, I'm playing guitar, man. I can play piano. I can play tuba. I can play whatever. Fuck it. You know, it's just I'm a musician. You know, that's all there is to it. And I can fucking sing. Who knew?
Yes. And I tell you, the other song that I quite liked was the first song, Train Song, as well. Very good opener.
Yeah, that was a sleeper. But, you know, and every time that we did those with playlist, you know, that was the very first one. I just go, and the label was trying to get me to, you know, put that out as like a single. And I'm like, nah. It's just the first song on the track of the record that takes you kind of back a little bit. You know, it's one of those songs that, to me, and when I first done this track, I'd sent it to one of my buddies that he's a musicologist and just knows this shit. And he goes, you know, Rex, this reminds me of getting in my pickup truck and putting in an 8-track back in the day and driving down a dusty old road with a fucking warm beer in my hand. That's the feeling I got from that song. And once he said that, I was like, you know what? I'm on the right path. You know, this is exactly what I need right now. But this guy knows his shit. You know what I'm saying? This guy knows every fucking, you know, he knows every note in the Bible of rock and roll. You know?
Yes. Yeah, no, totally. Hey, something...
Almost as good as me.
Hey, nobody's as good as you, Rex. Let's face it. Come on. You know.
I didn't mean to be arrogant about that at all. I was just joking.
I know you were, mate. It's all good. It's all good. Well, look, I'm gonna pause for a second. I'm gonna say it is a thrill for me to chat to you, and I know we're definitely not here to talk about Pantera, and I'm not talking about Pantera, but look, I am a bass player, and you have been an influence over me. And as you alluded to at the beginning of the interview, it's not a heavy metal interview, but mate, you're somebody.
Dude, I played bass in a different way. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, your bass line underneath Floods should be compulsory listening for anybody who wants to play bass, heavy metal bass. As far as I'm concerned, very few, if any, other bass players.
If you listen to the bass line and Buried Alive off this new record, it's almost the same thing.
Good.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And that dude, I played the. You know, I took a different approach on this one. With the bass line, it's still got my sound in it because I play so fucking hard and attack the instrument just like I do a guitar. I mean, I hit those chords just really hard with my right hand. I got rings all of them, and it comes out sounding like what it does. But it's one of those things where I play with my fingers a lot on this record. You know,
awesome.
Something I've never done before. I mean, I've done it before, but people didn't know about it. You know, those are for the bass magazines and shit like that. But as you asked, because you're a bass player yourself, you know, there's playing, you know, the 16th note straight for a full fucking 4 minutes will wear you out.
Yep.
You know, playing with your fingers.
Yep.
You know, and so you take something like Cross the Lines where it gets in that middle section. That's all with the fingers, baby. You know, and when it goes up and down and up and down, and you know that was that. But those were pretty much, you know, I knocked the rust out before I got in that studio. I wanted to make sure, you know, even on guitar. I mean, I went back several times. You know, my place in Texas is where I go see my kids, and so it's also my jam place. You know, I can sit late at night and just crank it up as loud as I want to, and. So I've got, you know, and it's basically where all my bass gear is, but I use different amps on this thing. I use different stuff that I hadn't used on records before. I pretty much played the same old shit on just everything, you know. This one I played different amps on it. I used some Woolix that I really like their cabinets, and and we used just a combination of a bunch of shit. But like I said before, it's all been a challenge for me, and I loved it. I love the fact that I challenged myself, and someone didn't have to pull that out of me. You know?
Yeah, gotcha.
Well,
just on
that's
that.
a special feeling, man. It is. Yeah, I'm not, like I said before, man. I'm not here on this earth just to fucking make records and fucking money, and who cares, man? If I can touch a couple people with this fucking thing, or touch anybody with it, you know, then I've done my job.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
my
no, I
work's
agree.
done
Yeah.
for now. Until the next one.
Yes, until the next
that's all
one.
you can
Yeah.
do, man. I like living life these days, fully sober. You know, that's what I like. You know, it's a different world than what I lived in the past. You know, it's you see things a little clearer, man. You know, it's just so much more relaxing. You know, but at the same time, you know, I go fixing to tear up the world for 2 years, so.
Yeah, sweet. And, mate, you recruited an excellent drummer in Chris Williams.
Oh, without Chris, I mean, it wouldn't have had its own. You know, he. Well, what's funny is that when we first recorded the drums on it, it was we didn't really have it the way I liked it, mic'd up properly and everything else. And when we got really serious about this, I went back in and re-recorded the drums, and we recorded every track 4 different times so I could have a look at them and see which one I wanted. Yep. You know, between me and Caleb Sherman, who was a producer, and also, you know, Mr. Magic touch on everything. You know, Christopher can play anything, man. I mean, he can play hard drive and metal. In fact, we had this one track that didn't make the record. You know, I'd taken 24 songs down to 13, down to 11 that made the final cut. And we had this one song that we were going to put on the record, and it was all just nothing but double bass. And it's some of the most slamming double bass kicking I've ever heard in my fucking life. And I've played with a bunch of great double bass players.
Indeed you have, yes.
You know, and he was, but then he could lay back and get that jazzy vibe of what I was, you know, I've got a little jazz in you too. You know, Christopher's perfect for who I need in the studio. You know, he's not in the touring band. I've got Johnny Kelly, who's a monster on stage.
Oh, you got Typo Negative, the Typo Negative drummer.
That's my commitments. I got Johnny Kelly and I've got a band. I got Mike Duda from fucking, which is Mike Duda that played in Wasp for all these years. And
that's right.
And Blow and all those guys. He's just been a really good friend for all these years. So I'm surrounding myself with a bunch of friends, you know, that are respectable. You know, somebody that would have your back. You know, Lance Harville that plays guitar on this record and helped me write it. He's playing guitar, and also I have Joe Shattuck, who is another guitar player that kind of does the Ronnie Wood thing, or just adds this other dimension. And then, you know, I'm singing and playing guitar. I just found it much easier to do that and focus on the vocal instead of, you know, I pay so much attention to the bass line sometimes. I just didn't want to get that one lost.
Yes.
You know,
yeah,
and Duda comes in and can play whatever he wants on it. So it's, you know, putting these guys in the same room, it was a task, number one. And when I finally did, we got in that room and I had to excuse myself. I said, hang on a second, guys, I'll be right back. Got to take a pee. I went out to the fucking parking lot and screamed. I was like, okay, now I've got this fucking great material. How's it going to sound with all these guys in it, you know? And it was just, you'll see. Will we come anyway, you know? Queensland, here we come.
Yes, mate, I hope so. Well, mate, we do love you here in Australia, and I really sincerely hope that you come down here within the next 6 months, soon after the album has been released.
I love Australia. It's one big Texas. I mean, yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate you having me. You know?
Yeah, sweet. Hey, there are 3 questions that I would love to ask you, Rex. So I'd love it if you could humour me here and play along. Now, this isn't to do with music. This is all about you as a person. Okay? And
okay.
And your answers can be as not safe for work as you like.
I kind of like to keep myself a little bit mysterioso, but that's okay. Go ahead.
All right. Well, we might lift the veil this time
I'll just
around.
give you a bullshit answer. How's that?
That's fine. That's fine, mate. Any answer
Go
is
ahead.
fine. Rex, choose 3 words to describe yourself.
Oh shit, dude. I've been doing interviews all day. I'm burnt. Respectful. Untidy. and genuine.
Nice. Hey, just on that, you mentioned something there. Have people been focusing on what you feel is the wrong thing in the interviews? Have they been focusing on the past rather than the present?
Well, to me, it's hard to sell this thing coming off of being in one of the biggest metal bands ever.
Sure.
You know,
Yep.
It's just one of those things where, you know, I'm sorry, guys, I'm just evolving. If you guys want to sit there and set me in this rut, go ahead, but that's not where I intended to go with this record.
Yes.
You know, so, yeah, I don't want to delve into it too hard. I just don't think that sometimes some of these journalists don't really listen. You know, they just want their fucking headline,
Yes.
and that's all they want. I mean, something came out of one of your magazines there that hit fucking blabbermouth, and it was chopped and out of context.
Yeah.
And that's not what this record's all about. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
It's really
yeah.
not. It has nothing to do with that. I hate that. I hate that whole mentality of this is about music, man, not about a fucking style of hair dryer. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Or not a what's your favorite water flavor? You know, this is about music. I think music can do a lot for fucking people. You know.
Yes.
I get tons of stuff all the time. People send me on this thing called Facebook. You know that you know where man really touched my life with the song that y'all did, and you know those are the things that really make
They move you.
your life. What I'm saying, there's much bigger things in life than just being put into a genre and then you can't get out of it.
Yes. Yes.
But bullshit. You know, that's why I said I'm going to shake some shit up.
No, good on
And
you,
we'll
mate.
see how it works.
All right, well, I'll move on to my next question then, and this is going to be very interesting to hear your feedback on this one. Rex, if you could go back to when you were 18 and give yourself some advice, what do you think you'd say?
I wouldn't do anything different. I mean, sure, there's tons of stuff that you would do different, you know. Don't ever smoke a cigarette. There you go. There's one.
Okay, there's one.
That's my only advice. I can't quit fucking smoking, man. It sucks. Let's see, what else? You know, don't drink yourself to fucking death. That's another one. You know?
Yes.
I've been there. You know, those things, those little bitty things. But at the same time, it was, you know, we grew up in a different generation, you know?
Yes.
It was,
Not as much
it
awareness.
was totally different. You know, there was a lot of places back then where you could do, you know, with Pantera, man, we just said, fuck it. You know, we don't give a shit. And that's the same way that I am today. I just don't give a shit. You know, I do. At the same time, people can say whatever they want. But as long as I'm proud of what I've done in my last, you're only as good as your last gig, the last song you rehearsed, or, you know, whatever you've done. You know, and that's just it. I've never canceled a show. You know, I'm a lifer, man. You know, and that's what it takes in this business. And I think some of these new guys get lost in that, you know.
Yes.
So don't make that your headline. But, you know, I'm just playing music, man. It's not rocket science.
Okay, I'm on to my final question. Okay, so I really appreciate the fact that you've been open. You've shared a whole bunch of stuff. I think I'm going to listen back to the audio and go, wow, okay, you said this, you said that, meaning in a good way. You've given a lot of context and you provided a lot of information when it's eventually broadcasted for the listeners to add to their listening experience for the wonderful new record that you've put out. Now, the next question isn't
Oh,
related.
thank you.
The next question isn't related to what I just mentioned, but it is profound because I asked this one question here of everybody that I interview, and you wouldn't believe the responses, the length and breadth of the responses that I get, and I'm really keen to hear your responses here, Rex. So here goes.
Go ahead, fire away.
What 5 guests, living or dead, from any time in history, would you invite to dinner?
Jesus Christ. We'd be one of them.
Yeah, he comes up all the time, actually. Yeah.
I would imagine he would probably be on my top guest list. Yeah, I'd really like to have a cat. Chat with that cat. Fucking. I don't know who are some of my heroes. Miles Davis. I don't.
Of course. Love him.
That's a tough question, man. What gets in the minds of Charlie Parker? What gets in the minds of these great musicians? Keith Richards, absolutely.
Yes.
You said living or dead, right?
Absolutely.
So,
yes.
Yeah, I think those 3 cats would be pretty. I think that'd be a fucking great dinner.
Yes. It would be. Wonderful conversation right there.
Or 4 cats, whatever I said.
Oh, you got 3 there. Did you want to choose 2 more? Or 3's fine. If you just want to stick with the 3, that'll do.
Oh, you'd have to put, Jack Nicholson in that somewhere, and or Jack Nicholson, excuse me, and maybe even Einstein. What the fuck?
Nice.
And now that'd be a rousing party right there.
That would be, and I bet the funniest person there would be Einstein as well, because I hear he had a wicked sense of humour.
Probably so.
Very dry.
He'd laugh at everyone.
Well, mate, that's it for me.
There you go, buddy.
You
have a wonderful day.
You've been listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series, and my name's Andrew Mackay-Smith. The interview subject you just heard from was Rex Brown, the former bass player in Pantera. Thanks so much for listening.